All right, good morning, fellas. Today is Sunday, May 17th, 2026, and I have a brand new camera. Look at this. Look at this. I got dual views, dual views, dual views. Can you believe? Wait. I think I got them mixed up. Wait, that one's there. No, wait a minute. Okay, that one's there, and that one's there. Wow. Yeah, no, I've got multiple views. I'm actually simulcasting on a vertical stream, so I'm actually live on YouTube. I'm all over the place. All right, just put it that way. I'm all over the place. It's gonna get crazy up in here. Will Tyler is in the house, saying good morning, Addy. Good morning, Mr. Mr. Will Tyler. How are you today, sir? Today, I don't know what we're going to work on. I kind of wanted to come on. I wanted to stream a little bit. Will Tyler says, doing some vibe coding before Sunday school while listening to your coding Sunday school. Yeah, that's right. You have come to the church of coding, not the church of vibe coding, right? Because that's more along the lines of Satanism. But you've come to the church of coding. And Battle Manish, who I believe we've seen you be in here before. That name sounds familiar. Howdy, sir. Hope you're doing well. Keep in mind, we are also on the vertical stream, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Actually, I should make sure that is even live. Actually, I should make sure it's public. Okay, there is somebody there. 6767 says, amen. Welcome to the sermon, sir. I hope you enjoy yourself. I'm going to put a link in the mobile chat. I'm going to put a link to the desktop chat. So if you are watching on a computer and you kind of want to follow along what I'm doing, it's going to be difficult if you're on just come to the computer, okay? Just log on the computer. Battle Manish says, I'm over here mapping while listening along. Okay, good. Speaking of maps, I wanted to show you. Now, again, I talked about this yesterday, how we're writing this video game, and I have, for the past month or so, I have gone down the path of basically just of developing the world in which the game takes place. Now, let me reload this. Actually, let me do something off screen really quick, because I want to show you. I kind of want this to be like a reveal. Okay, that's kind of why I'm doing this for a second. So give me 1 second. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so why is that? Why is that doing that? Wait, what? Okay, I think I need to. Okay, wait a minute. We've already got technical difficulties within the first 5 minutes of the stream. Just give me 1 second. I think this is a matter of having not refreshed something. Just give me 1 second. I just want to make sure, because otherwise I'm highly confused. Okay. Yes, this is a matter of refresh. Okay, can I force a refresh? Homie, what's going on? Yo, dude. Okay, my screen, this really does not want to refresh. Okay. Control refresh is supposed to force a refresh, right? So, okay. All right. Well, let me join you in on the party. Okay. So, here again, the name of the game is literally the name of the game we're writing is called Saint Aveline, which is an island in a fictional world. And so I have been developing this entire world map, but even though the game will only ever take place on this little island. So I'm actually quite proud of the website that has happened thus far. Let's see, yesterday I added links, so now, that doesn't work. But, okay, well, some stuff, I mean, look, this is still all very, very, it's still very, very rough around the edges. But I am happy, you can zoom out and you can see other parts of the planet. I know nobody cares except me, but that's fine, because I'm only doing this for me, kind of other things. But no, I'm enjoying this quite a well. But I think that I'm just enjoying building the map. I added a little scale over here on the right hand side, which actually was very easy to do. So you can actually get a concept of like some kind of concept of how big everything is. And then I added this little island that it's really difficult to find, but you can actually go over here and you can see the island here. But then you zoom out and like you can see it's a small island in the middle of nowhere. But nobody cares about that. We're going to work on the game today. Battlemanish says the game will only be on this small island, but we will hear stories and lore from the whole continent. You will hear stories and lore from the entire world. Yes, you will. You will hear stories and lore from everything. And like there's background, like I have developed the if I had spent as much time developing the game as I have developing the lore, the game would have been out already. The game would have been released like 6 months ago. So let's just put it that way. But, you know, again, this game is not being written for any type of financial gain, because if it was, I would fail horribly because most games don't do very well. But so it's not as though I'm writing this because, like, oh, this is the last hope I have to make any money or anything like that. Thankfully, that is not my situation. I'm just writing this for fun. So I'm going to do the things that I find fun and enjoyable. So, you know, coming in here and so look, it's not even so much the lore that like developing the lore and naming and creating a world. That's fun, which I do enjoy. But the technical aspect of everything I put together here, it doesn't quite come across, but let me talk about the technical aspect of it a little bit and show you like what I enjoyed. So this website, if you go to Yanora.world, you can go there, you can browse it. It's very rough around the edges. It's still coming. There's no deadlines. I'm just working on it as I work on it. But the technical aspect of of the way this is done, there's three repos. You've got the map repo, which is Yanora-maps. You've got the wiki repo, which is basically all of the text, the actual textual information, like it's basically the story, right? And then you've got the website, Yanora-website, which is just the website that brings it all together. And so the vision I had was that I could go into this program called QGIS or whatever I'm using, whatever tool, but I could go into a tool and I could add another little island, or I could add a city, or I could draw like a city map on and that kind of thing. And then what I would be able to do is basically be able to check it in and then have everything kind of brought together and then published onto the website. Basically, what I'm describing is a CI/CD pipeline for this map project. And I really enjoyed bringing that all together so that now, and it is currently today at a point where I can. Now, it's not quite working on Windows for reasons I won't get into, but it is at a point where I can basically make like a change. Like I could add an island and then name it and, give it like some culture, like say what country it belongs to, what kind of biomes it has, et cetera, et cetera. And I can make that, I can save it, I can check it into the source code, and then a minute later, it's going to be live on the website. So that kind of technical challenge of putting that all together, I enjoyed. So there's that. And then there's also, of course, there's the world building aspect of it where you get the name things and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I like that. I saw a YouTube short for something a guy did that he called an infinite sketchbook, which was pretty cool. But it seems like you could do something similar here by adding random stuff around the map. And honestly, that is my thought process. This is, when I was 12 years old, about 11 or 12. Oh, wait. Let me see if I can find something. I'll be right back. I want to see it. All right, I think I found it. So what I'm getting at is, when I was about 12 years old, when I was 12 years old, I remember my family, we went on vacation, and it was This is back in the 80s. Yeah, it was the 80s. And it was like a freaking 8-hour drive from where we lived to where we were going on vacation. Great. And so I remember being in the car, and all I had, like, you didn't have cell phones. It was the 80s, okay? So all I had was kind of like a pad of paper and a pen or a pencil. And so what I started doing, I'm trying to find it, what I started doing was creating my own world. And I remember talking to my family, like at the time, I was asking them questions like, here's the actual pad of paper. But I remember asking them questions like, oh, like, you know, what should the name this and this and this and all these various questions about building this world. And so I actually have the original pad of paper here, where like basically I was creating like a lineage of royalty, and it just goes on, and then I have state names. So this was the beginnings of this world, but then I just kept working on it. Where's the map? I have the maps by continents, but damn it, isn't there a world map somewhere? That's just blank paper. But like, I mean, like I had hand-drawn maps of like these continents. That's just one continent on the world. And I don't remember how many continents there are. I'm trying to find a world map. I can't find one right now. I don't know why. But anyway, but the point is that I always enjoyed like world building. Like here's another continent, like one of the bigger ones. And so this was a project that I would work on for ages. Like I worked on literally until like well into my teens. And then, of course, I grew up and I discovered girls, and so I had other interests. Oh, here's a world map right here. So there's my world map of the world that I call Kaklailaflum. I broke like one of the cardinal rules when world building. One of the cardinal rules is like don't create names that you can't pronounce, because that's exactly what I did here. I created a second one too. I won't. Where is that one? Yeah, here. So this was 1980 Addy world building right here. Where is it? Kaklailaflum. Anyway, so the point of this is that this was like a project that I worked on for several years, and it was all in like paper, like pen and paper form, and I see this as like I see this as a similar thing. I mean, it's almost like an exact same thing, but in a digital realm, and also something that like just something that I can work on at my leisure for years to come, because I like this sort of thing. I like, you know, they're like in this wiki page, and again, I know they're like, I'm not claiming to be a writer, so, you know, I'm going to find this 99% more interesting than the vast majority of other people. But like, I've built like little stories and like little mythologies and stuff within this wiki. Like if you're interested enough and go hunting around, a lot of it is, I'll say a lot of the text is AI generated. The ideas are Addy generated, but a lot of the text is AI generated, right? It's some of it, I mean, I'd say a good like 80% of it. But of course, so anyway, but it's not as though I told AI to invent the lore and invent the stories. I invented the lore, I invented the stories, and AI just helped me kind of word it. Anyway, but so the infinite sandbox kind of thing, that's kind of like what I like. I mean, that's a very good explanation, because like, let me give you another example, and then we'll stop talking about the map for a second. But like here, like there's, I still need to work on how it's rendered, but there's like an entire city map here, and these streets actually do have names. I don't know why they're not showing right now, but that's the kind of thing. Like I could see myself like on a Sunday afternoon watching football, and like, oh, okay, so, you know, there's a little village that's going to be over here. Let me create a street map for the little village, and then name a park, and then the park's going to be named after somebody. And why is it named after that guy? What did he do? That kind of thing. So anyway, let me save this and let me quit. But let me quit out of it, because again, I think the map thing is something that I find very interesting, but I don't expect other people to find it super interesting. People might find the web development portion of it a bit interesting, but nah, you know, we're going to talk about the game. So Let's, where were we yesterday? Okay, so again, I have the text really big so that people can actually see it. Not sure was complaining about it, but that's just because he's old and gone blind. I don't know if he's here in the room or not. Did I send the link out? I think I sent the link out. Let me make sure I sent the link to the stream out. I am, wait a minute. Put that there. Okay, I did in fact send the link out. Let me check something else, and then you will have my complete and undivided attention. All right, so let me just, you just got to give me a minute. We started off with a high energy. I'm just waiting any second for Will Tyler to be like, all right, got to go run errands or whatever the fuck he's going to do. And then, not sure, apparently like 3 days ago went BRB and he's still not B'd. So that's just what he does. Let's see. 8. Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Let me see. All right. Okay, boys. All right. So what I had started doing was I basically moved the Miniscript language into its own assembly, into its own project. And I was thinking about this a little bit yesterday. So after the stream yesterday, I went on a really long walk. I'm going to do that again today, weather permitting. It looks like it's getting ready to storm. But I was trying to think of what this is going to look like in the, what am I trying to say? What this is going to look like in the game. And basically, I think the way that I'm just going to type out some pseudocode to just try and get an idea of like how I want it to work. So let's give me a new file. So in the game, I could see something like, okay, so I guess you're going to have a namespace. I forget what the namespace is in the game, but let's just say it's, I don't know, game core. Oh my fucking God. Just let me type a file. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. Big changes are here. Will Tyler says, back now. Claude is trying to unfuck something for me. We'll be working while listening until about 9:15 when I have to get ready for church. Fine, whatever, church boy. Erwin Curtis says, I've aged 10 to 12 years waiting for you to get to the point. Shut up, Erwin. You're probably not even there anymore. He's probably gone. That was on the mobile stream. Okay. So we're talking about pseudocode, right? So again, remember we have something like, in our code, we're going to have like push, I don't know, value 1. It doesn't really matter. Push value 2. And then, Erwin Curtis still here, Slick. Well, Erwin Curtis, if you're on mobile, stay on mobile. If you're on desktop, join us on the desktop stream. Scroll up in the comments. I put a link to the desktop stream there. It's probably going to be easier to see the code I'm writing and everything on the desktop if you're on desktop. Okay. So then we would also have call. My method. AI is doing fine. So you need something to kind of delegate these calls out. And I want to make sure that I'm not creating too many layers. So let's see. So this would be, again, this is kind of just like a stub implementation, right? The way I see it is you would have some type of mini script singleton runner class. And then this class is what's going to have all the wiring so that it can talk to the NPCs, it can talk to the player, it can talk to the environment, it can talk to whatever it needs to talk to. Now, my method, so let's see. So you would have inside of this class, you would then have a method called my method. Okay. Now, keep in mind that I am not, I'm talking, but I am I'm thinking, I'm designing this on the fly, right? So I don't know exactly where we're going. I'm just doing the process of trying to figure out where we're going. So the AI is kind of on the right track. The way I see this is, okay, so let's look at this. What did we do over here? So I know we have like the Miniscript VM. The Miniscript VM is going to need some type of link between itself and the environment where it's actually executing these actions. So, and that's kind of what I started yesterday with Call Runner, but I'm not exactly happy with it. But let's think about, let's just kind of work through the process. I know one thing I want to do is I want to use attributes, my method, param count equals 2. Stop. Okay. So I don't know offhand if this is actually valid C# syntax. I think it is. But anyway, the point of this is, one of the things I really, really like about C# is its reflection system and its ability to kind of call back on itself. So there would be like how, and what I mean by that is how, like, what would a VM look like this anyway? Now you could do this another way. You could do this like a way that like a junior engineer would do it, which would be you have some type of public void run, I don't know, and then let's see, string method, and then I forget how to do this in C#, where you just have a bunch of we're just going to do this. We're just going to do an object parameter, okay? Now, a very naive way to do this would be like, if method equals my method, call that, right? And then else if, just like this whole if method equals my method, another method, blah, 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 which is fine, I guess. It's ugly, right? It creates a maintenance issue because what if you need to rename a method? What if you need to remove? Or this method down, like this approach that I have highlighted down here, it will work. It will work, but there is a better way to do it. Because think about this. Now, if I want to add another method, I have to add an else statement in here. And then I have to add the method itself. And then I need to make sure it's just a pain, right? I think a much more elegant solution is to use the attribute and reflection system built into C#, right? So what this does is now if I want to add another method, all I need to do is I just need to kind of declare it, Miniscript method, another method, right? Param count 1, and then there it is. So I think that this is a much more, like I said, it's a much more elegant solution. And then inside of this class, you would have things like, I don't know, like the mission. There's a mission manager, something like that. I forget what it is, but there's a mission manager singleton that you would have, and that would have access in here. You would also have access to, I mean, like this Miniscript singleton runner. That is what has access to the entire Unity scope of things. Whereas the Miniscript VM, it doesn't care or know what environment it's running in. So it just knows like, oh, okay, I just need to call this little thing. And then the details of what this little thing are is handled by somebody else. So how do we go about setting this up? Like, what does this look like? I don't know. I think the call runner is what is going to use the call runner class. We might rename it. I'm not particularly happy with that name, But I think that in and of itself, or this class will be what actually does the reflection handling. It's the thing that's going to be like, okay, we're supposed to call my method. So let me look at the class that I have been told to look at to see if it has a method called my method, and then run it. So this would actually end up being something like search for function name, pop the arguments for the function, execute the function with the arguments, right? Something like that. Is that going to make sense? But the problem, the call runner, it needs this search for function name. It needs to know what to search. Yeah, I don't know if I like this. Erwin Curtis 402A says, don't really understand most of this. You are battling ladies European golf on Golf Channel. So far, the ladies have my attention. Well, I mean, of course. I mean, you know, like I've played golf. Like, I haven't played a lot of golf. I've played some golf. So I by no means can really even speak to golf. But how are they in such good shape? I mean, obviously they're doing stuff outside of golf, but it's not as though golf is like soccer, which requires you to be in phenomenal shape. So I don't understand. But golf ladies, they tend to be nice to look at. So I understand. I am not going to compete with like professional female athletes for your attention. I'll compete with them like in arm wrestling, sure. I mean, why not? But no, for your attention, no, I'm not going to compete there. There is no competition. Okay, so the question then is maybe we don't need call runner at all. Maybe the VM just needs to have like some type of executing script or class. So the VM needs to be told, hey, this is the thing that's going to execute your actions. This is the thing that's going to run your actions. But what does that, and so in this case, it would be this class. Right? Like it could be called like implementer, right? So if I go over here, the problem is I don't know what type it is right now, but we're going to call it implementation is fine. But what is it? It can't be just a type. It has to be more than a type. It has to be a class with functions. But I don't want to be so strict where I say it needs to be a class of this specific type. Or even, I don't even want to say it needs to be a class that is derived from this type. I think some instinct is pointing towards using inheritance, like some type of subclass, blah, blah, blah. Like it would work, sure. I just don't know if this is I don't know if that's the best approach. All right, I think the best thing to do here is to just kind of move forward with it, right? Implementor. So let's start with, no, not call. Where's our little test language or test program? Okay, so adjust NPC attribute would be the function. So public void adjust character attribute. Okay, the AI is going fucking crazy with this. Did I misspell something? Maybe I did. Okay. So what engine will your game be? The game, it's not a matter of will, it's a matter it is. The game is in Unity. You can check out the game if you look in the link of the stream. If you look in the description of the stream, all the links are there. But the game is well underway in terms of like development, right? Here's the game. So maybe I should back up to anybody new and explain what it is we're doing, right? So let me, is the game in a runnable state? I don't think it's broken. I think I can run it. All right, it's going to take a second. And then when the game starts, I'll explain what it is we're doing. Let's while we're waiting for that, let's wait for some. I mean, not let's wait. Let's find some other music. Here, we're just gonna go to the old standby. It was the Old Man in the Sea. Come on! I don't know why this is taking so long. This is taking an unusually amount of time. Yeah, so it's still working. Okay, wait, is it locked? Is Unity locked up? We're gonna let Unity try and do its thing. Okay, all right. Okay, so what are we trying to accomplish other than world domination? Well, so here's the game, right? It starts out, you're dropped off at this island. Remember, I was talking about you're at an island, and then the island is in the world, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so a lot of games will have a conversation system, right? So this says press Q to interact with the enemy. This enemy's name is Chill at First Guard 2, but actually it says up here his name is Flavapop. So that's interesting. I'm not sure. One, it looks like the hover text is pulling the name from one place, and this over up here is pulling the name from. Anyway, doesn't matter. So we press Q, and so I can interact with him in certain ways, but we're gonna converse with him, right? What we are building is a conversation system, and we've made some again. I will stress, do not focus so much right now. Do not focus on the way it looks, okay? I am not a designer. I am not a UI designer. I'm not a guy that knows that whether purple is going to work better than orange, or whether you should use curved edges as opposed to angled. I'm not that guy, right? I design systems, not UIs. Like, that's for women. So the way it looks, it's rough. I understand it, but basically I just needed the data to be there and worry about the way it looks later. But what we're focusing on right now is functionality. All right. So I just want to put that out there. So what we're building. So we built this conversation system. You can say, you see here, it says, and like it's, there is audio. We could do some voice acting. Ooh. But so the NPC is saying to the player, keep it moving. You've got 10 minutes before the streets are locked down. And then you can see this little timer up here is, counting down how long you've got, because if you are outside and they see you, you will aggro. They will aggro. So you have options. You can respond respectfully, you can respond disrespectfully, or you can ignore them. So if we respond disrespectfully, and then the player says, screw off, jerkwad, and this button down here should say continue, but it doesn't. And then now here responds, get back inside before I bash your skull. And then you can continue to respond respectfully or disrespectfully. I'm not scared of you. Okay, that's fine. That's a conversation system. Now, these bits of conversation, they're kind of useless if they don't have consequences, right? Like, maybe if you continue to respond disrespectfully, thank you. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
I've just been delivered breakfast.
Okay, have a good time.
All right, thanks. All right. So yeah, no, my wife just brought me a breakfast sandwich. Very nice of her. Anyway, so again, if you respond okay, so you can respond disrespectfully over and over and over. So what we need is for these responses to have consequences. And so for an example would be, if you continue to respond disrespectfully, then he might aggro even before the 10 minutes is up, right? Or he might remember it, which I think is a fascinating concept. Like, he might remember that you were a dick, and then later in the game, he's going to be a little harder on you. Or if you're nice to him, maybe he'll be nicer to you in the game, right? But basically, you need to have actions. Not every response needs to have an action, but some responses definitely do need an action to be able to modify the state of the NPC, modify the environment, or like maybe you're able to talk him into giving you a gun. So that action needs to be taken. Okay. So we have established that these bits of conversation need to optionally have actions attached to them, right? So how do you do that? Now, you could hard code it, right? Like that is a solution that will work. It is what I would call a naive solution. And so I often think about naive solutions, not so much as the solution that the most junior programmer would think of, but I would think of them as kind of like the most obvious solution, right? And so the most obvious solution would just be, well, you just have these actions that are attached to in some type of hard-coded way, right? Like you can have the dialogue. Okay, one example of a naive solution would be a dialogue response could have an ID, and then you have some class in the program that looks to see if that ID is triggered. Then it takes an action. It's actually not a terrible idea, but that kind of thing, like that would work. There's going to be problems with that, right? Because the main thing that comes to mind is like maintenance. So now each dialogue has to have a unique ID, which isn't in itself a big deal. But now you have to map the IDs to the actions within some type of singleton class, and you have to keep track of that, blah, 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 blah. But what this pattern is actually screaming towards, right? When you're talking about data systems, and when you're talking about arbitrary actions, this is kind of screaming more towards wanting to have code as data or behavior as data, because that's what you really are defining. You're defining behavior, but you want to define it in a way that is not baked into the actual code, right? Because code is behavior. You're defining behavior, but you want to be able to have a more dynamic system. A good example is, think about yourself as the game programmer, but then you hand your not your game engine, you hand your game off to a designer, and the designer is going to be the one that actually is like, okay, well, if he selects this choice, then the NPC is going to aggro, or the NPC is going to, his annoyance level is going to increase, and if the annoyance level increases past a certain threshold, then he turns aggro. That's what a designer will do. But you don't want a designer going in and modifying your C# code, right? So you need to have it in such a way that the designer can like write his own little behavior controls without actually modifying the code of the game. So what we have done, and there were two paths that we were looking at when we first started trying to figure out the best way to do that. There were two paths. I wish Not Sure was here. Not Sure is one of our regular viewers, one of our regular chatters, but he's not here right now. So he was here this day, and there were two paths. One, you could define those actions with a set of scriptable objects. Like you would have a scriptable object for, I don't know. We didn't think about it too much, but basically there was the scriptable object path, and then there was the mini script language path, where you were kind of write your own little miniature language, right? And Not Sure, that asshole, he chose the mini script language. And that's what we went with. And that's what we're down. So the mini script language, to kind of show you an example, The mini script language is like right here what I'm highlighting. So so think all the NPCs have certain attributes, like health, obviously, but they have more than just health. They have, let's see. They have many different attributes like comfort, calmness, receptiveness, and then they also have like loyalty and like I forget the other one. But anyway, so you want your language is going to have to be able to modify those certain attributes at will. And so here what we do is we have a push target. We still haven't defined it. This mini script language is still very much in the works, so things can change. But the idea here is that target is a kind of it's kind of a not necessarily a global variable, but a set variable set by the program itself, right? So you'd say, okay, push target, push comfort, that being the attribute you want to adjust. Push negative 0.1, which is the amount by which you want to adjust it, and then you call the function adjust NPC attribute. So this function takes 3 arguments. It takes the NPC, the attribute, and then the amount. And then when you call it, that actually adjusts the attribute. So anyway, that's what we're doing. All right, let me take a bite of my sandwich. It's been staring at me. It smells good. I am hungry. Nom, 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 nom. Give me a minute. It's a good breakfast sandwich. It's good. Emmanuel Lacone 5627 says, hello, sir. How are you? I am doing great. Lajos Orso says, you are gay. It's accurate. All right. So, anyway. Oh, wow. He really just came up on me, didn't he? Oh, he's trying to attack me. But I think his gun's not working. Something's up with his gun. I was like, well, why is he like why is he up on my business? Although I don't understand why he can't shoot. Well, he should be shooting. Anyway, okay. All right, let's just stop this. So we are in the middle of implementing our little mini script language, right? And we're going to have to add to this as time goes on. Very good. Boys, I don't like to give advice, so I'm not going to. Never mind. All right. So what we're going to do, this implementer class should actually be outside of the miniscript system altogether. We're going to put it here in the miniscript console program. Okay. And basically, it's going to need to be passed in. Why is this? Okay, so implementation. Let me see. Tokens. Okay. Easy. And then object implementation equals null implementation. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to pass it. Emmanuel Locon 5627, I'm sorry I'm eating, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, so what we need is we need an implementer, but we need an implementor object, right? We don't need just the type. Implementor. And then I guess this is actually just equals to, can I do this? So then when we're creating this, we pass this in. Okay, perfect. Can I do this? Even better. Okay. Man, I do like C# syntax. Okay. So we have our custom implementor, but we need to be able to add, basically we need to be able to add attributes to it. And I need to look up, okay. Now, there's a place already where I'm adding attributes, or where I'm adding custom defined attributes. Let's look it up. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. NPC state tag. Perfect. And see, this is where the reflection thing comes into play. I don't need any like switch case or anything like that that tells you, oh, when your NPC switches to state X, look for class named X state or whatever. Like, yes, I mean that action is happening. It's just happening kind of under the hood. And all I have to do is just take a class and just define it with this attribute, NPC state tag, and name it. And now suddenly all of my NPCs have access to become that state. Anyway, so we want something similar. Okay. Okay, so we're definitely going to use reflection. Do you guys understand reflection? Because if you don't understand reflection, it's going to be difficult to understand everything else if you don't understand reflection. So, if you would like Professor Addy to do a sermon on reflection, let me know. I will be happy to explain reflection, because I find reflection. I find reflection to be one of the cooler things about programming languages and programming language design. Okay. So I guess, let me see. I'm just going to copy that for now. Ellipsis triangle trap. He says, I understand nothing. How's it going, sir? Or ma'am, I have no idea. How's it going, Ellipsis? Hope you're well. One of my favorite viewers. Mostly one of my favorite viewers because I love the name. Wait, does it need to have the word attribute at the end? I think it might. Okay, tag. Let's just I'm not sure I quite understand everything yet, but let's just kind of go with param count. All right. I love a good breakfast sandwich, man. I do. I love a good breakfast sandwich. I'm gonna have to get some water in a second. Imagine taking gay as offense in 2026. Did you ever take it as an offense? Whoever took it as an offense? See, the thing is gay doesn't really mean gay. Like, I mean, I guess at some point it did in the past, but gay means like something you don't want to, like lame. Like that's kind of how I think of it. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, you're gay," I'm not thinking that that person is a homosexual. I'm thinking that person is lame. One of my favorite YouTube shorts that has been trending lately. I don't do TikTok, but I will often say one of my favorite TikToks, even though I don't do TikTok, but when I talk about that, I'm just talking about either YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. Is this guy, and I've noticed there's a lot of copycats now. This guy, he just goes up to people and says, English or Spanish? And then like, English. He's like, whoever moved first is gay. And then they got to sit there and they stand real still. But the thing I love about it, is that the men, because it's always men he approaches with this challenge. And I should say just the ones we said, but they all immediately understand the assignment, right? Like they all understand that it is a contest and whoever moves first is gay and nobody wants to be gay. But he's not talking about being a homosexual. Like I don't read it like that. Like when I see something like that, like and it's like whoever moves first is gay. I don't see it as like, oh, if I move first, then he's implying I like to suck dick. No. It's more of an implication of just you're lame or you're a loser or you've lost. So I don't know. It's like I don't take like being called a homosexual. I don't take as an insult. Being gay is not about being called a homosexual. It's about being lame. That's how I see it, at least. That's how I think about it. That is the traditional meaning of gay, Ellipsis Triangle Trap says. Maybe. Well, the traditional meaning is happy, right? It's like, oh, I'm so gay, or I'm so happy. Don't clip that. No, but have you guys seen the like whoever moves first is gay guy? Like I think they're hilarious. Let me see if I can find him really quick. Is this him?
English or Spanish?
Yeah, this is him.
Whoever moves first is gay. You got something, you know.
Wait, no, that's not him. I want his original. Like, where's his original?
Bro, English or Spanish?
That's not his name. Like, everybody, like, basically because he got some...
English or Spanish? English. Whoever moves first is gay.
Everybody immediately understands the assignment. All right, fellas, let me get some water. Let me go take a leak. I'll get back and we'll work some more on this. I'll be right back. I just realized something. I just made this realization as I went to go relieve my bladder. I didn't shower yesterday, and that is weird because I shower always, and I shower sometimes. It is not unusual for me to shower twice a day. Like, especially as the weather starts getting warmer, I will shower 2 times a day at least. Sometimes even 3, but always at least once. But for whatever reason, I did not shower yesterday. I'm just now realizing that I didn't shower yesterday. I did not take a shower. It's not the end of the world. The reason I know that is because on Friday, I got this new soap. It got delivered in the evening, and I shower usually in the morning. So I put the soap in my bathroom, and I was like, I'm going to use that next time I shower. I've been excited about this soap, right? And it's an antimicrobial soap, and it's a liquid, but I don't even know if they make antimicrobial soap in bar form. They make plenty of bar antibacterial, but I want it specifically antimicrobial. Anyway, so I was really excited about this soap being in my bathroom, and then I realized when I was looking at it when I went to go use the bathroom, and I was like, oh, I haven't used that. So that's how I realized, oh, I didn't shower yesterday. So, okay, well, all right. So how do we use this? Okay, so I think our attribute targets, this is actually a method, I'm guessing. Yes, method. Okay, now what we're going to do. Okay, so now what I would do is I would decorate this. Yeah, the AI gets me. The AI understands. Okay. And maybe it should take a VM. Okay, but we'll think about that in a second. What is this? What's this red squiggly? Okay, it's telling me that miniscript function attribute does not exist. Let me see. So you do have to name it attribute. I'm fairly certain you do. Using miniscript public. There is no argument given that corresponds to the required parameter count. Okay. All right. I think we got past our red squigglies. I don't want to pass the full VM. I don't know if that is a good way to do it or not. I mean, you could kind of do this. Oh, wait. Is params a keyword? What about params? Like that? I don't even know what that means. All right. Let's ask AI. Oh, come on. Just give me the AI mode. In this code, what does the params keyword do? Explain this. Will Tyler says BRB. Oh, just like not sure. Okay. The param keywords lets a method accept a variable number of arguments as a single array. Instead of forcing the caller to manually create and pass an array, C# handles it automatically. The compiler takes the comma-separated list of items and wraps them into an array behind the scenes. Okay, I like this. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Ah! If arg's length not equal to 3, just throw an exception. Okay. For each var arg. Okay. Okay, so this is an arbitrary handler of this adjust NPC attribute function. Okay, so we still need to have the code. That looks for it. It means we're going to have to pass that down to the run. Nah, I don't like that. Oh, wait. No. It's right here. No, it's not. Oh, why? Why have you done this to me? Oh, I'm not sure why. Why? Not sure. Not sure. Okay. All right. That's how I act at work every day. Okay. Let's back up. What we're going to do is we're going to do an ancient programmer technique. This is a bit of wisdom, a programmer wisdom I'm about to hand down to all you guys. I know you younger guys that you program and you want to become programmers. I'm going to hand somebody who's been doing it professionally for nearly 30 years, been doing it since I was a kid a million years ago. I'm going to give you a little bit of programmer advice right now. This is programmer to programmer. This is technique that's been used for generations. The technique is take a step back. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take a step back and work on something else. No. I used to work at Blizzard. That guy gets a bad rap. There was... Okay, wait a minute. Let me find something. I'm going to look for it off screen. But there was... Yes, he does get a bad rap. And I'll explain why in a minute. Okay. Because everybody started hating him. Well, I kind of started hating him when he claimed to go through a second puberty. That's just stupid. That's just that makes you a bit of a retard. I'm sorry. I know some people object to that word coming back, but to sit there and be like, well, my voice is so deep because I went through a second puberty. You see, I went through a second puberty. No, he is obviously using some type of voice modulation, deepening. No. Second puberty is not a thing. But okay, Stop Killing Games testimony. So the guy who started the Stop Killing Games movement, I guess, in the EU,
one sentence away from
you can, if your petition gets enough signatures, then you can go testify in front of some commission. And because people don't understand how software development works, a lot of people signed this Stop Killing Games thing, and so he was able to go and testify in front of whatever EU commission. Wait, let's see. All soaps are antibacterial, antimicrobial. I don't think that's true, Erwin Curtis. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty... Erwin Curtis. Wait, what is it? It's ERWINCURTISS 4028. A very handsome chatter is in my chat room and is claiming that, quote, all soaps are antibacterial and I'm definitely sure about the antimicrobial, but they're not. Microbial. Is this true? I don't think that's true. Let's find out. No, that claim is false. Regular soap does not kill bacteria or microbes. It simply removes them from the skin mechanically. Thank you. Regular soap lifts dirt, grease, and microbes off the skin so water can rinse them away. Antibacterial soap contains added chemicals designed to actively kill or inhibit bacteria. Microbial defense. Neither type is highly effective against viruses like the flu or the common cold on contact, but regular washing still removes them. So I don't know where you got your information. I mean, you might be incredibly handsome, Erwin Curtis, but you don't know your soaps. There are 4-year-old kids on Roblox that have built mega cities since the stream started. Will Tyler says, I don't really care about the stop killing games things, but dude was completely wrong in his take either way. DRM ruins games. It single-handedly ruined SimCity. I wanted to watch this testimony because I hate this take. Like, I hate the take on stop killing games. I did a video because I got so triggered. I did a video on my other channel, which I don't really use anymore, but I actually did a video about how stop killing games is like, well, you know, just look, we just want the companies to just hand over the code. Although he literally says at the beginning of the video, we're not asking companies to hand over the code. But then he's like, well, we just want companies to hand over. Like it's basically his argument. It had some good points, right? Like the example that I like to use is a single player game, like a racing game or a fight, whatever the game is, but a single player game, and then it has to check some remote server to see if you can still play it, and then if the remote server's down, it just kills it. Like that kind of shit I get. Like I get that. Like, no, that shouldn't happen. That should not be allowed. But the other shit he was saying about how, like, well, they should open up the tech to, like, fuck no. Like any type of online. I want to hear this. I want to hear this because maybe this is 10 minutes long. Let's watch this together. I'm going to do a reaction. Let's do a reaction. Let me turn off my music and let's see how this goes.
Which has many shared goals with the initiative.
Wait.
I am the founder of the Stop Killing Games consumer movement.
Okay.
Which has many shared goals with the initiative. I'd like to clarify what it means to destroy a video game. The second slide. When we say a game has been destroyed, what we mean is a publisher has permanently disabled all copies of it that have been sold so no one can ever play them again.
Right, but games are not a monolith. There's many, many different types of games, right? Like, again, how would you, like, if Blizzard goes out of business, WoW is going to go away. Like, that's just how it is. But look, I'm stopped. Let's keep going.
Every single copy of a book or film in existence. Effectively,
no, it's not. It's completely different.
Erasing it from the culture. The way this practice works is first a publisher sells a copy of a video game. However, it has been designed so that it must connect to the publisher in order to function. This acts as a potential kill switch. The customer is also given no information when the game will stop working.
The company may not. Oh my God! The company may not know when the game's going to stop working. Okay. Anyway. Go on.
Even though the publisher has decided to assume that responsibility. Then,
it's their game.
After an undisclosed length of time, the publisher disables all existing copies of the game, but keeps the customer's money.
But keeps the customer's money? What does that even mean? No. Okay.
The publisher also enacts countermeasures to ensure repairing the game. The that assure repairing the game is almost impossible, even for experienced software professionals. From this point onward, no customer can ever run the purchase again.
Okay.
Besides destroying the game, this practice is also subverting customer expectations. Most video games can work indefinitely, which has been the customer standard for half a century.
It hasn't been the standard. It hasn't been the standard, especially since like MMORPGs started coming out. Now, look, again, he has points. Like if Doom, if suddenly who wrote Doom? ID, I think. Like Doom, if there was like some kill switch where like it was like, no, we don't want people playing Doom anymore, and now Doom stopped functioning, I get that. I like that. That's shitty. I get it. But again, if you look at like WoW or like if Blizzard goes out of business, what do you do? Those countermeasures are valid though. I think that think about a WoW subscription. Blizzard can't open that up preemptively without opening up free competition while it's supported. Yeah, no, I get that as well. And I don't necessarily have a problem with allowing reverse engineering after the game is out of like if the game is no longer like if the publisher is like, look, we're sorry, it costs too much money to run this world, like this WoW server, like it's just too much money, we're losing money on it, we have to shut it down. And at that point, I do think that measures to reverse engineer that they shouldn't be allowed to stop measures to reverse engineer. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know exactly how that would work, but to me it seems. It just seems like that you should be allowed to reverse engineer the client. But there were so many fucking problems. So many problems with this guy's argument. So I'm curious to see if he's cleaned any of them up. So far, I don't know. He's talking in vague generalities. Most video games can work indefinitely. According to who? Like most video games? That's a big, bold claim, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Including ones that connect to the internet.
Video games that connect to the internet can also operate indefinitely without support if designed responsibly. So this was another big thing that I didn't like. Like what? Now you want to dictate how companies design their software. Like I remember one of my big arguments or one of my big gripes with this entire argument was that he made it sound as though he believes when a company designs a game that the only technology they're using is their own technology. Not thinking that like I doubt that WoW is only using Blizzard written software. They are probably using some, like they might be using Kafka. They might be using some like MySQL database on the back end. They might be using licensed software that they have to pay for in order to use and maintain their infrastructure. So like it's the thing is that this was obviously written by some nerd who thinks because he plays a lot of games that he understands how games are written. This happens a lot. I've noticed this a lot with a lot of game streamers that because they play games, they think they know how software is written. And that's the other thing about this is that he's talking about games, but what makes games so special, right? Like, why wouldn't this apply also what he's saying? Why wouldn't this apply to like Photoshop? Games are nothing. It's nothing but software. That's all it is. It's just a specific type of software, but it's just oh my God, this pisses me off. I object to any government dictates, design philosophies, requirements being forced on developers. Yes. Only a European surf cuck could come up with such a concept. Like, yeah, like oh, it's infuriating.
A small number of video games operate as subscription services, but those inform the customer exactly when their access ends at the time of payment. The games we're referring to do no such thing.
How do you know that? Like, a company can't do that. A company is hoping for success, right? So a company can't sell you a game and then be like, yeah, no, we're going to support this for 20 years. A company doesn't know that. They don't know if they're going to be in business in 2 years. Like, oh, Jesus Christ.
bit of miscommunication. They almost always contain terms stating they can end at any time for any reason.
Yes, because it's their fucking business.
What this means is customers have no real protections when they buy games like these.
And notice that he is lumping all games, right? So people might be thinking like Solitaire, like, yeah, Solitaire. If you buy a copy of Solitaire and then it requires it reaching out to some phone home system in order for it to operate, and then they go out of business and now you can't play that version of Solitaire anymore, that is shitty. I agree with that. Like, phone home systems specifically for the purpose of being a kill switch, that I can get behind. I can get behind stopping that. But it's more complicated than he's making it out to be. He's just saying games that require an online connection. But why? Like it's not just a matter of requiring an online connection. This is so infuriating because it is so obviously something put together by someone who does not understand software development.
They are unable to keep them, and they are not informed when they will end. This behavior would be outrageous in other industries. If you bought a book in a store, the publisher cannot come into your home and take back your book at will. If you bought an insurance policy, you would be informed when that policy ends.
Would you?
Not that the seller could end it at any time for any reason, but still keep your money. The games being sold this way are operating similar to scams. Publishers know customers expect video games to last, so they sell these in the same way as ones that can work forever. As a one-time purchase with no expiry date, then price them the same. Publishers know that if customers were informed exactly when they plan to disable their games, that would reduce sales.
He's making it sound like publishers know. Like publishers know when they're going to stop supporting the game. Like this is... Oh my, this is infuriating. And the thing that's even more infuriating about this is you have thousands and thousands of internet idiots just getting behind it, be like, I want to keep playing my Funko Pop anime game. What's going on?
Since the longevity of a game affects how much customers are willing to pay. The industry is trying to have it both ways, finding ways to say they're selling you a game that they're not selling you. This creates confusion for everyone involved and is part of why it's taking customers so long to get exposure on this
All right,
practice.
get to it.
The legality is also unsettled.
Okay.
Earlier, members of parliament assisted us in asking questions to the EU Commission about how legal the terms and game license agreements were, especially being able to terminate them at any time for any reason. The Commission stated Directive 9313 EEC prohibits unfair terms causing a significant imbalance in the parties' rights and obligations to the detriment of consumers.
Okay.
The Commission also recommended...
Are video games that are sold with no expiration date considered goods, services, and or licenses, and what are the criteria for classification? How... Again, I keep coming back to this. How do you put an expiration date? Like, are you saying that you want publishers to start putting expiration dates on their games? How do they know? Oh my God, this is so stupid.
Consumers file complaints with businesses across member states through the European Consumer Centers Network. In 2024, we had volunteers across the majority of EU countries submitting.
However, directive. Okay, the problem is like, okay. So I'm a company, I write an MMORPG, I publish it. Now I'm spending $50,000 a month to maintain the servers, I'm just throwing numbers out there. 50 grand a month, and I have 3 subscribers. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I remember in the original video I watched, he's saying that like, we're not saying companies have to operate indefinitely. They just need to write their software in a responsible way such that somebody else could come along. Like, no, you want me to write my software in such a way that somebody else could come along and just easily put their own service up? Well, like, again, I believe reverse engineering should be allowed, but I don't think companies need to necessarily make that easier for people. Companies should not be under any obligation to make it easier.
Complaints against the French company Ubisoft for disabling the game The Crew. The responses we received from the ECC network were extremely inconsistent. Some officials said there was nothing they could do. Others said the company was required to run the game indefinitely, which is unrealistic.
The whole thing is stupid. If you just distill it down into a consumer protection thing, which is a logical conclusion, then it's just an issue of companies giving a minimum warranty period. Yeah, really. Okay, no, we promise this is going to work for the next 24 hours after you buy it.
But the majority stated there was no clear regulation on this practice. We were independently able to get thousands of complaints submitted to consumer agencies in France and Germany, but there still has been no decision on them on the legality either. To the best of our knowledge, no one in the EU has ever been compensated for.
So single player at risk. Okay. Subscription example, stop killing games, dead game list. Okay. Stopkillinggames.wiki.gg. Stop. What? He had a list of dead games somewhere. Dead game list. Okay. So let's see. State at risk. What's the game? Okay, the game. Now he said The Crew. I don't know if that'd be under C. Let's see. The Crew. Single player at risk. Yes. Subscription to play. No. The game shut down March 31st, 2024, kickstarting the Stop Killing It fan-made server emulator released. Oh, so it was a subscription. Wait. Was this a multiplayer game? It's a paid racing game. Despite online only requirement, it had a single player campaign, bots, and a disabled offline mode. One of the distinctive features of the game was scaled down recreation of the contiguous United States, offering 10,000 kilometers of road. I mean, okay, well, okay. The Crew is a paid game with paid DLC, also featuring in-game currency, blah, 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 blah. Ubisoft delisted The Crew and its expansions from digital platforms, suspended sales of microtransactions, and announced that the game service would be shut down on March 31st, citing upcoming server infrastructure and licensing constraints in early 2024. See, licensing constraints. Ubisoft was probably paying some other company for some license for some product, and then maybe the other company was like, "Hey, this is we got to jack our prices up," and Ubisoft looks at a ROI and is like, "We're going to lose money on this," and they shut it down. This is so stupid. Now if this had a single. The thing is if this had a single player mode, then I do find that kind of shitty. However, requiring companies to support single player mode in an otherwise multiplayer game is fucking insane. It's crazy. No. They're not going to dictate to me how I design my software. No.
This and hundreds of other titles. In short,
Ellipsis Triangle Trap, my new favorite streamer, or my new favorite listener, says, sounds like the dude want a return on how games worked when the primary distribution was in physical form. He does. And to some extent, again, I don't see anything wrong with that. If it is an offline game and the only reason it is phoning home is to see if it should run or not, that is shitty. That's a shitty thing to do. And not a lawyer, but I feel like there should be some legislation. There should be something to stop that from happening. But,
governments in EU countries are not sure how to handle this situation, and customers are overwhelmingly not being compensated for the loss of their purchases.
The loss of the purchases? Did you get to play the game? I remember I was talking to this guy, Johnny Gators, who hates me, but he was pissed that This was like in 2016. He was mad because he could not find a Windows 10 or whatever it was, whatever driver it was, but he could not find a driver for a 2016 operating system for a printer that he bought in like 2002 or 2004. It was like over 10 years ago. And he was enraged like that. He couldn't find, like, why wouldn't the company do this? Like, what, like, how, like, and I tried explaining to him because he was saying he was ripped. It was a very similar argument, basically saying that he felt like he had been scammed because it wouldn't work on modern day hardware. And I was like, but the thing I said to him was like, I promise you that if you found a computer, like let's just say he bought it in 2005, find a computer from 2005, install Windows as it existed in 2005, that printer is going to work. That's what you bought. That's what you bought. Any driver updates for new operating systems is a gift to you. It is a gift. You're getting that because the company wants to try and do good by its customers and try and support modern operating systems, but they're not going to do it ad infinitum. They're not going to do it forever. And I tried explaining to him that, like, he's like, but it's just a driver update. And I'm like, do you think that just a driver update is free? Like, do you think that it doesn't cost money to create these new drivers for new operating systems? Do you think there's not work involved, salaries that need to be compensated, not just for the programmer, but for the testers and for the distributors and for everything? Like, there's a ton of money that goes into creating these new drivers. And so you want the company to just give it to you for free for like no, it doesn't work like that. And so people feel entitled to have, and it's a little bit of a tangent, but people really feel entitled to have old software, old hardware work on new hardware. There's no promise of that. There's no promise that because you bought a printer 5 years ago that it's going to work on your new computer. If it does, cool, but there's no guarantee of that.
It is an ideal situation for clear regulation. This is not a new practice. It started approximately 2005 and began negatively impacting customers for them around 2010 onward. However, it often affects a minority of customers whose complaints can get lost in the system. It wasn't until a large case affecting millions that any attempts to get government attention were possible, and there still is no answer. The EU Commission says this must be handled on a case-by-case basis, but this practice is extremely widespread. Future slides. We have formed an amateur study examining over 1,000.
I would suspect that I could be completely wrong on this, but just knowing what I know about the software development industry, like I've had various jobs, I've worked in it for a number of years, and knowing what I know, I would suspect that the number of games that have a single player mode and that do a phone home so that they should know if they should run or not, I would suspect that is a minimum number because that is something that has to be done purposefully, right? It has, like, a company has to specifically think, we need a feature in our game so we can stop people from playing it even in offline mode. Like, a company has to purposely think that, and then they have to purposely implement it. And because of that, I think that the number of companies actually doing that is probably very small. I wouldn't be surprised if none of them are doing it, honestly. I suspect what is happening is that it's something to the extent of the game gets patches, it gets updates. And if it can't phone home to get those patches or get those updates, then it doesn't work. That's probably what's happening. And you could say, well, it shouldn't do that. It should still continue to work. And maybe you have a point, but then you have to think of the other side. Well, what liability does the company have if there's some bug in the old version of the software that can destroy your computer? Right? Or there's some vulnerability that would allow somebody to hack into your computer, or just Or also, what if, well, software licenses usually allow you, if you publish something, they'll allow you to use it in perpetuity. But anyway, okay. But there is a potential liability of the company where if they can't update the software and it does something bad, they don't want that trouble. It's just easier to just make it not work.
100 video games that require a connection to the publisher. The majority of these have been deliberately disabled by the publisher, with many of the rest still at risk of...
But see, deliberately disabled by the publisher does not mean maliciously disabled by the publisher, right? I don't think most of them are doing it maliciously. I would suspect they're doing it deliberately. If they're doing it deliberately, they're probably doing it for some licensing reasoning, for some like technical vulnerability reasoning, like I just explained, something like that. I don't think publishers are sitting there and like, yes, let's go ahead and disable the game because then they will have only been able to play it for 30 days. Like, that's not happening. Like, that's not, like, what does a publisher care? Like, if they sell you a game for $50 and it's offline, like, why do they care whether or not, do you really think they care enough to only let you play for like a year? Like, no. Will Tyler, got to go to church. Bye. Bye. Will Tyler also said, if you sell someone a game today, shut it down tomorrow, they deserve a refund. If you sell it to them today and shut it down next year, no refund. Basic consumer protection is okay. I mean, I agree. To some extent, I agree. You should see the hate mail I got when I pushed an update a decade old app to make sure users weren't going to lose their data, but cause some problems due to a complete rewrite.
being destroyed.
It's because people think people think because they use something or they consume something that they know what goes into the production of that something. And so they think, well, like, you know, I've been playing games for 30 years. Obviously, I know a thing or two about writing them. No, you don't. You don't know shit. You don't know shit. That's like I've been watching American football my entire life. You think I know how to coach? No.
Under the strictest interpretation of what it means to disable a game, the study found that out of over 400 titles, publishers disable a customer's purchase 93.5% of the time when ending support. This business practice is responsible for more destruction to the...
Yeah, when ending support. And then you know what's going to happen, all right? You know what else will happen? Well, again, I can kind of see that either way, but I guarantee you, like they end support, which means they're not going to do any more development, and then Windows 11 comes out. Oh, the game won't work on Windows 11. Oh, why doesn't it work on Windows 11? I demand my money back. It won't work on Windows 11. It's like, bitch, we sold it to you for Windows 10. The requirements say Windows 10.
Medium than anything else by an enormous margin. There is also a strong correlation between this practice and the size of the publisher, as most small studios do not engage in it, as it requires far more resources, work, and liability than they can handle. So even though this impact...
Larger? Wait, say that? Oh, small. Okay, small. What? He's talking out his ass. He literally doesn't know what he's talking about. Wait. I want to back that up.
And the size of the publisher. Practice is responsible for more destruction to the medium than anything else by an enormous margin.
All right.
There is also a strong correlation between this practice and the size of the publisher.
Okay.
As most small studios do not engage in it, as it requires far more resources, work, and liability than they can handle.
It requires far more resources, work, and liability. Well, liability of what? Resources to do what? Have a phone home that shuts it down? I don't think, no, that's a stupid argument. No, that's a dumb argument, especially now with AI. Something like that could be done in an hour. Like what? That's a dumb argument. Even before AI, some type of ping this website. If you get no response, don't run. A couple hours at most.
So even though this impacts a minority of games, it disproportionately affects customers due to the scale of the largest offenders. From sales figures, it impacts tens of millions of customers, minimum in the EU. This impacts developers as well. This
Does
may
it?
seem obvious, but based on interviews and feedback,
Okay.
we found the majority of game developers do not support having games they've worked on destroyed.
Well, of course not. But what does that have to fucking do with anything? Let me tell you another little story. So I guess back, this was like maybe 2 years ago, right? So again, I'll do a little humble bragging, but I'm very senior in my position where I work, very senior, and I work with a lot of junior developers, which I like doing. Like I like mentoring the younger guys. I like trying to guide them on what I think is a right path, and like trying, like I like mentoring younger developers. So, I also say today that like I don't program computers. I program programmers. I tell programmers what to do, and then they tell AI what to do, whatever. But like, so I don't really, I don't do a lot of programming these days. I do a lot of design and a lot of like programming of programmers. So there was this guy that I was working with. He was maybe, I don't know, late 20s, young guy, smart guy, really liked him. And he had a tendency to over engineer, but that's usually what you get with junior engineers. And it was fine. I knew it was something that like, he's a smart guy. So I know he'll grow out of it. Right. Well, he worked on this thing. It doesn't matter what it was, but he spent probably like 3 or 4 months. He did a good job. It was working. It was doing what it was supposed to do. And then we find out, and then I'm told basically that it was an integration with another company, and basically the priorities of the other company had changed. So they weren't going to do the integration anymore. So basically we were going to stop working on it ourselves. And so I tell him, I'm like, okay, I need you to kind of pivot to this other thing, because that project, we're just kind of, I don't know what's going to come of it. It might not even get released. And he got triggered by that. And he's like, well, I spent all this time. I spent all this time like working on it. And now you're telling me that it's not even going to get used. And I'm like, dude, I have worked in my career. First I said, unfortunately, that's just part of the job. Like in my career, I have worked on multiple projects, spent blood, sweat, and tears and months on multiple projects, only to see them get shelved. Shelfware is what it is. It just gets shelved. It never gets released. Nobody ever sees it. And it sucks when it happens. It sucks. It does suck, because you're like, I did all this work for nothing. You didn't quite do it for nothing. You still got paid. It's just that nobody is going to see your efforts. It sucks, but it happens. It's a part of the job, unfortunately. And so this argument that like, well, we interviewed some programmers and most of them said they don't want to see their work destroyed. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Do you think a guy who builds a bridge wants to see the bridge torn down when it's time to be replaced? Of course they don't. Like, what a stupid fucking argument. Go, play.
They can spend years of their lives creating them, but they are often not the ones making these business decisions.
Well, no shit. They're a programmer. They're not a fucking CEO. Oh my God.
Sometimes even sign non-disclosure agreements so they cannot voice their opinion on the matter. The main point I hope that does not get lost in this hearing is
that you're a fucking idiot. That's the main point in this hearing. Is you're a fucking idiot that doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh my God.
Initiative welcomes any solution that will solve the problem of video games being destroyed on this scale. We want this to be as easy and as practical as possible for all parties involved, and are very open to how that is achieved. We are not even asking publishers to change their business or monetization models, only that once they end support, they do so in a responsible way. Our only goal is to prohibit this destructive practice and thus obtain basic protections for consumers and the medium as a whole.
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete...
Wait. What happened? Oh, this is a freaking ad. Skip.
Aspect. Again, when planned for from the beginning, the cost can be very small.
No.
I'd like to add a little basic protections for consumers and the medium as a whole. I'd like to add a little bit on the economic aspect.
Yeah.
Again, when planned for from the beginning, the cost can be very small.
No, you don't fucking know that. What are you fucking talking about? Oh my God. Well, yeah, I've never actually built a building, but I do know that if you plan for XYZ from the beginning, it's going to cost you very little to actually do it. Oh my God.
It's mostly about when it's undoing that's more of a cost related.
He
Earlier in the
has
game,
no idea what he's
Concord was
talking about.
mentioned. That's actually an excellent example because it's publicly stated that at least 370 million euros were spent developing that game, and
Okay.
it did not include an end-of-life plan like what we're seeking.
Oh, so now you want games to have but see, the other thing is you want games to have this end of life plan. Okay, what about other software? What about business software? What about there's thousands and thousands of pieces of software. Why are games special? Are they special because they had the big booby female character that you like to play and run around and watch her boobs bounce? Like, come on.
Most of the cost for developing games tends to come from other areas like art assets or marketing.
What the fuck? Oh my God! What fucking game company have you run? Oh my God! This is infuriating.
This is just one element out of hundreds that already go into making a game.
What does he do? What is his background? Is he maybe he runs a game studio. What is his name? It's something Scott. R. Scott. Stop Killing Games. What is his name? His name is Ross Scott. Ross Scott. LinkedIn. Stop Killing Games. I want to know what this guy does for a living. I want to know what he does for a living. What does Ross Scott, the founder of Stop Killing Games, do for a living? What does he do? What does he do? Is he oh my God, is he a fucking YouTuber? He runs the game channel Accursed Farms. Okay. Freeman's Mind is a Makina, a comedy series. What does he do for a living? Okay. All right. Well, let me see. He's a YouTuber most widely known. Okay, he's the creator and voice actor of a popular Half-Life video game-based Makina series. Mostly, he's a voice actor, a creator, but that doesn't. Oh my God, game reviewing. He supports himself through ad revenue generated from his videos and through voluntary financial contributions and donations from his audience. What the fuck does he know about game development? What? Oh my.
Oh. The other thing is sometimes industry costs or estimates of how much this would cost can be faulty because they're expecting the game they're asking for to have every last feature it did while it was being supported.
No, you're creating a straw man argument. That's a straw.
Cheat measures.
Oh my fucking God! No, you don't know what you're talking about. This is infuriating.
There could be hundreds, or known as microservices, associated with these that can be disabled, and the customer still has the core game.
Yes.
That should be taken into account when figuring out the potential.
Oh yeah. No, just design your game accordingly.
And
we want to regulate it.
It might have been mentioned earlier, but we also want to emphasize the companies have been paid already once for the working game, so that should be factored into the budgeting. There were some other points mentioned on the right to repair, whether we need it and how long a product should work. With
All
right
right.
to repair, that's a little bit different issue. Well, that's certainly welcome, having the right to that. As I mentioned in my presentation, there are deliberate countermeasures to prevent repair.
That kind of shit. I mean, I have to agree with him here. Like the kind of shit that Apple does to make it so that you can't repair your iPhone. I don't know that they are, but if they're doing similar things like with Xbox and PlayStations, like that kind of that's fucked up. Like that I can get behind him here.
It's almost like a small miracle when it does happen from extremely experienced software professionals
Okay, so maybe he's talking about repairing. Again, it sounds more like he's actually talking about like writing emulators and things like reverse engineering, which I don't think there should be any laws against. I don't know that there are, but I can get behind.
Correcting a game. However, if there were repair instructions, that would be very welcome. I think.
Absolutely not. Nope. The company should be under no obligation to make it easier for somebody else to basically be an expert in their product, right? Like if they want to, sure, that'd be very nice of them, but they should be under no obligation whatsoever to do that. Like, oh, here, let me provide you with an instruction manual to take revenue from me. Right? Because, well, Apple does, like, Apple's practice is shitty, but the reason Apple does it is because they want to make money from either making you buy a new iPhone or going to an Apple certified place, I guess, or whatever, going to an Apple store to get the product repaired because they want that money. So requiring a company to basically, I'm going to help you take revenue from me. Like that's stupid. It's retarded. No. It should be allowed. People should be able to repair what they want or what they own or what they have. They should be able to repair, but there by no means should companies be required to make it easier for people to do so. Play.
We would even consider that a viable alternative to what we're asking if it was practical to resurrect the game that way. And for how long it should work, it's kind of the customer standard is indefinitely, as long as they keep the game in good working order on their end. And
as long as they keep the game in good working order on their end, it should work indefinitely. Because keeping the game in good working order is effortless, right? It doesn't cost any money. But I guarantee you, this is like I said earlier, like, you know, you buy like Space Nomads, right? Like, hi, Matthew, you buy Space Nomads, and then now, like, in 15 years, well, I bought Space Nomads, and it doesn't work for Windows 35. Why can't it work for Windows 35? Like, you know, I have a right to play my game, and if it's not working for Windows 35, you're no, motherfucker, no. When you bought the game, it worked on Windows 10. You want to play it in the year 2040? Install Windows 10 and then play it.
we're not trying to hold any publishers responsible for updates that break things.
Yes, you are! Oh my fucking God.
That wasn't their doing. So,
yes, you are.
They choose to support it. We're completely open to. I mean,
yeah. Well, no, you're not completely open to it. You're not completely open to it because you're just saying that. Oh, well, you know, it should be indefinitely. It should be indefinitely.
I think there's already existing EU regulations on that, but I mean, they as far as we're concerned, they could end support the next day, but as long as the game isn't destroyed, we would be fine. That.
What if the game has a bug? All right, let's. What if the game has a bug, and for some strange reason, in the year 2027, the bug manifests, and now the game is not functional because of some bug. Are you going to require the game to make an update, even though they're not supporting it anymore? They're not, yeah, because you said they don't have to support it indefinitely. But you said, you know, they don't have to support it as long as the game is functional. But there's a bug. People, you know, like, what do you do? What do you fucking do?
Not acceptable. And the last point on the, for doing this through the existing, just doing this through the courts, through the legal action, that still doesn't get to the heart of the matter of the game itself being destroyed. We're not really refunds and compensation. Those are a secondary measure that when the game itself can't be reinstated, we just want the game preserved. So
Pirate Software got a bad rap. I think the majority of his bad rap came from him realizing what complete idiocy this Stop Killing Games movement is. Pirate Software rightfully identified the Stop Killing Games movement as a movement led by a bunch of people, or at least one person, that doesn't know what he is talking about. This guy, I guarantee you, he's one of these guys, one of these streamers that, well, I've spent 20,000 hours playing Call of Duty, so I think I know a thing or two about game development. No, you don't. You really don't. Just because you can play a game for 20,000 hours does not mean you know the first thing about what went behind its development and production. Oh, Matthew says, nah, he went to the crapper for so many other things. Yeah, he did. Well, the first thing, when I started to notice a lot of Pirate Software hate was when he spoke up against Stop Killing Software or Stop Killing Games. And I know there's other things that he's done, but Stop Killing Games was the main thing that I saw that where he started getting a lot of hate. But he is 110% correct about Stop Killing Games. He could not be more correct about Stop Killing Games and what a misled clusterfuck of a movement it is. Oh my God. It is infuriating watching this guy who has no idea what goes into game development talk about, well, the publishers, if they just did this and this, because I'm a context expert. And if you would like to know my expertise, well, I'm a level 47 druid in WoW. And I've also an admiral with 3 stars in Call of Duty. Like, no, oh, Jesus Christ. What a, I just want to I'm not really a bully type of person. There, for whatever reason, when in my younger days, and I regret it, there were a couple of kids that I did bully. I really want to bully this kid. I really just want to bully him. I mean, because, and look at him. Look at him. He was one of those guys who stayed after school to play D&D with his friends. And his friends were probably another guy with shorter hair that looks just as nerdy as he does. Some fat girl, some really huge fat girl that liked the attention from the guys she got. And probably some moderately attractive girl with big boobs that all the other guys in the group wanted to fuck. And then probably 1 or 2 autistic guys. Somebody probably in a wheelchair too. One of those people in the D&D group was in a wheelchair, I guarantee you. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those things. It's just you can look at this guy and know exactly, I just want to punch his face. All right. Well, on that, and since Matthew just got here, I'm heading out. It's been 2 hours. I hope you guys have had a great time. D&D Basement Group. Absolutely. He was the D&D Basement Group. 100%. 100%. God, I fucking hate. Oh, God. All right, boys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm going to go shower. I didn't shower yesterday, so I'm going to go shower now because after realizing how I didn't shower yesterday, I've just been feeling progressively more and more gross. So I'm going to go get that done. I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 4:00. And be sure to click and subscribe. Love you. Miss you. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.